Come, let us reason together as we discover all the guidelines and formulas and steps to a fruitful life concealed in the Bible in aspects of love, wealth, and career. Oh yes, and the eternity, for Ecclesiastes says, there is nothing new under the sun. Today, let us look at, is it right for a Christian to make yearly resolutions? To start with, let us conceptualize and contextualize this with 4 main points. Facts. 1. It is God that created the difference in times. We see that after God created the light in Genesis chapter 1 verse 14, He says, "Let them be for signs and seasons and for days and years." Fact number 2, for all these times, you need a goal, be it long term or short term. It comes from your purpose of life to a vision, to goals, to weekly and daily plans, which in fact inform our to-do list. We shall expound on this in the next video. Fact number 3, the Bible tells us of particular things various people would do specifically on a yearly basis. So in this, I consider that your resolutions may be based on your birthday, on a workplace and government financial year, or even from camp meeting to camp meeting, and not necessarily on the calendar year. In 1 Samuel chapter 1, Elkanah went up from his city yearly to worship and sacrifice to the Lord. And he went with Hannah his wife year by year. In verse 7, she went as well to the house of the Lord, and she wept and did not eat, crying for her son. So there are prayers you have to intensify at the end of every year. There are needs that are relevant for a month, for a year, and some for decades. Anyway, we also see Absalom, the most handsome man at the time, in 2 Samuel 14, verse 26, that he cut the hair of his head at the end of every year because it was heavy on him. So some things or people may be a burden, and you need to reconsider your ways and their relevance in your life. Thus you review your life. And fact number 4, God often used a new year to award a renewed life to His chosen people. Call it a renewed walk with Him. First, we see that in Genesis chapter 8 verse 13, on the first day of the first month of Noah's 601st year, that is when the water dried up from the earth. This was a pure new earth with a fresh new start at the first other 100 year of Noah. When the Lord spoke to Moses in Exodus 40 and commanded him that on the first day of the first month he shall set up the tabernacle of the meeting. This was also a renewed promise to the Israelites, a renewed walk with them throughout the desert. You see, this was a sign of His presence amidst them, which was well represented by a cloud of a fire covering the tabernacle. And for that reason, I want to conclude by saying that I actually believe that you as a believer who is actually supposed to be the head, not the tail, get to feel that you have glorified not the Lord in particular aspects of your life in the passing or the previous year, or that you wish to continue glorifying Him more and more. Then you ought to make resolutions to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord. And in so doing, you should A. Claim promises of a good ending of the in-passing year, as per Psalm 65 verse 11. He says that He crowns your year with goodness, for His paths drip with abundance. When you do that, He will bless you. 2. Search out and examine your heart, examine your ways, and turn back to the Lord. That is Lamentations chapter 3 and verse 40. C. Give thanks to the Lord. The Israelites were also expected to observe the Feast of Harvest. In Exodus 23, verse 16, commanded that the first fruits of their labors, which they had sown in the field, and the feast of ingathering at the end of the year, when they had gathered in the fruit of their labors from the field. This was at the end of the year. So there are things you have to do on a yearly basis, at the end of the year or at the start of the year. Anyway, in the next 2 episodes, we shall talk about what a Christian should consider when setting goals, why we sometimes achieve not our resolutions, and the biblical formulas to succeeding. Always abide in faith, hope, love, but remember, love transcends. See you in the next episode.